John Bell, we had the launch of the All-Atlantic Ocean Youth Ambassadors Forum today here at the European Commission. Tell us first of all, where did the idea for the Atlantic Ocean Youth Forum come from?
Well, we were working together with the scientific communities to look at the needs of the ocean, and the needs of the ocean very quickly turned to the needs of the people who live around the ocean. And we realised that part of the issue is there's an emotional deficit, a disconnect between what the people closest to ocean science know and what is important to people who don't know what they should know about what's going on in the oceans. So in some way we need to move out of the world of research and science and into the world of communication and bringing this research alliance, turning it from a group of fantastically progressive and advanced countries and scientists working together to turn it from a research alliance into a real research community. And if you can imagine it this way, most of us live our lives pointing inward into our land-based territories, our cities and our countrysides. And the Atlantic, we now need to develop a new community of people who are pointing outwards towards the ocean and seeing not just an expanse of beautiful and terrifying ocean in front of them, but actually a whole community of people around the ocean from pole to pole, from the different peoples who are living around the northern parts of Finland or Canada, to the people who are living in the warmer waters of the Caribbean, to the challenges of those who are living in different conditions in Africa or in Brazil and the different parts of Europe and the United States. So to take it from being a very abstract concept where great work is being done, but the work and its impact in improving society and in improving our ability to solve the solutions of changing our society to meet climate and other needs, it's people who do that. And in the end, science's most important value in the decade of decision that we have ahead is that we're giving to people some of the answers to the questions that they're going to need to solve at local level. And so behind that, we also felt when we looked around the room, and I was looking around different rooms in the United States and Canada, Brazil, South Africa and the European Union, we saw a lot of truly impressive, generally men in suits, very busy doing hugely complicated work. And our biggest difficulty was how do we engage not simply with people outside of the room, but with the future. And so one of my thoughts was if we were going to build a community around the Atlantic, the best way to do that is start with the people who are going to be most affected, most involved in that, which are the young researchers who are today probably the most creative and leading thinkers, most engaged people, who have a natural ability to network and communicate and build bridges, and who have a great interest, I think, in being able to move and work and research around the Atlantic. So I was hoping that we could have, if you like, the beginnings of a community that begins with a group of young leaders who are there, who are already, as our Commissioner said this morning, it's not about tomorrow, it's about today. They're today's leading thinkers. They will take this forward. And in a way, they'll take forward the work that has been done and give it new life and new shape. But their key role is to bring this and make connections locally in all the different places where people live and work and where people need to know what they need to know about the ocean, what the ocean needs from them. And so it's the beginning of a natural and organic way of developing a community around the ocean where science is serving society.
So a platform given to these young people, 19 of them, 23 of them from 15 countries. It's quite a platform from the European Commission. You're making quite a statement.
Well, the European Union is about the power of convening people. We can solve some of the most impossible problems that we have together that wouldn't be possible separately. If the European Union's mission at the moment, which is to be carbon neutral by 2050, it's the fifth great mission of the European Union. We started with trying to make peace out of coal and steel together. Then we brought and built a market together. Then we built a currency union together. We peacefully reunited the continent together. The European lesson, because of our history, is that you can do very difficult things together that you can very seldom do yourself. And bringing different attitudes and cultures and minds and energy and creativity into the conversation is what makes the future possible. And the European Union really operates in the future tense.
And the role that these 23 young people will play, how do you see them interacting with politicians, with policy decision makers, and with communities, as you say, on the ground?
I think one of the things I've learned, having three kids of my own, is I'm not going to decide what they will think or what they will do. it's an invitation to them and a challenge to inhabit this space where they're at the leading edge of their fields and their professions. And their professions they're going to have to define. Their roles they will have to define. The knowledge is there for them to shape and create and use as they wish. And they should be challenging people like us to say, this is what we need from science, this is where policy needs the connection, and this is what we bring. So it's really to invite them in to create the space for themselves and the next generation, the generation after that, of younger researchers, and build the kind of community of practice and vision that we need for the future. But far be it from me to tell people in their 20s how they should be managing the next 20 or 30 years. We're in the business of trying to tidy up what has been done by previous generations.
Let's reflect on the important points that the Commissioner made this morning.
Well, I think you saw that the whole room, there's about 700 people here, were energised by, I think, a really clear message of commitment and support. And Commissioner Gabriel reminded us that what we need to think about is how we can act together, that we need to listen and learn from one another, and that we need to take the instruments that are there and make them new and make them useful. I think it was very interesting also, she has this extraordinary portfolio of research and innovation, of science, but also of education, of culture, and sport and other areas. And she's talking about we need to find the vernacular language that people speak when they're going to make decisions and change, and that is culture. It's the place that people live in. So it was a really energising start for all of us, and it was great to hear that we have her full political support and engagement for the period ahead.